What if I told you that a few old pennies, yes, the same coins you ignore every single day, could actually be worth hundreds, thousands, or even life-changing money? Sounds crazy, right? But today we're diving into the top 4 wheat pennies that collectors are desperately searching for right now. Coins that could be hiding in your pocket, your drawer, or even that old jar sitting in your home. These aren't just ordinary coins. Each one has a hidden story, a rare detail, or a minting mistake that turns it from a simple 1-cent piece into a collector's dream. And the shocking part? Most people have no idea what to look for, so they spend these valuable coins without ever realizing their true worth. In this video, we'll reveal 4 powerful wheat pennies that you should never ignore, including rare no-mint mark coins, valuable mint errors, and high-grade pennies that have sold for jaw-dropping prices. So before you spend another penny, make sure you watch this video till the end, because the next coin you check could change everything. So let's get started. First up, what if I told you that a simple coin, one you might overlook every single day, could secretly be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars? Sounds unbelievable, right? But today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1942 wheat penny with no mint mark. And trust me, by the end of this video, you might be rushing to check your own pocket change. Now picture this. It's 1942. The world is at war. The United States has just entered World War II, and everything from food to metals is being rationed. Copper, the very metal used to make pennies, was becoming extremely valuable for military equipment like shell casings and wiring. Yet, somehow, millions of pennies were still being produced that year, and among them lies a hidden treasure that collectors are still chasing today. The 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark was struck in Philadelphia, which at the time didn't include a mint mark on coins. That means if you look at your penny and don't see a small letter under the date, you might already be holding one of these historical pieces. But here's where things get really exciting. Not all 1942 pennies are created equal. Most of these coins were made from a bronze composition, but due to the transition towards steel pennies in 1943, some rare minting experiments and errors began to appear. And those errors? That's where the real money is. Collectors have discovered that certain 1942 pennies contain unusual characteristics, like double dies, offset or strikes, or even transitional metal errors. Imagine holding a coin that looks completely ordinary at first glance, but under closer inspection, reveals a tiny detail that could turn it into a jackpot. For example, a 1942 wheat penny in average circulated condition might only be worth a few cents to a few dollars. But if you happen to find one in mint state condition, meaning it looks almost brand new, it could fetch anywhere from $50 to over $500 depending on its grade. And if it has a rare error, that value can skyrocket into the thousands. Now let's talk about what you should actually look for. First, check the date carefully. Make sure it clearly reads 1942. Next, look below the date. If there's no D or S, you've got the Philadelphia version. Then examine the coin's surface. Are there any unusual marks? Doubling on the letters? A strange color or shine? These small details can make a massive difference. Another key factor is condition. Coin collectors use a grading scale, and the higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. A heavily worn penny might not attract much attention, but one with sharp details, clean surfaces, and original luster, that's where serious collectors start paying serious money. But here's the twist that makes this coin even more exciting. Some experts believe that during the transition period before the famous 1943 steel pennies, a few experimental pieces or wrong planchets may have been used accidentally. That means there's always a chance, however small, that a rare and undocumented variation could still be out there, waiting to be discovered. And that's what makes coin collecting so thrilling. It's not just about money. It's about history, mystery, and the possibility that something extraordinary is hiding in plain sight. Think about it. How many times have you ignored a penny, dropped it in a jar, or spent it without a second thought? What if one of those pennies was actually a hidden treasure? Stories like this are why collectors around the world constantly search through rolls of coins, old piggy banks, and inherited collections. Because every once in a while, someone finds that one special coin, the one that changes everything. So, before you spend another penny, take a closer look. That 1942 wheat penny with no mint mark might not just be spare change. It could be a small piece of history worth far more than you ever imagined. And if you enjoyed uncovering this hidden treasure, make sure to stick around, because there are even more rare coins out there waiting to be found, and your next discovery could be just one coin away. Next up, one of the most overlooked coins in your pocket, the kind you wouldn't even bend down to pick up, was actually worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. It sounds unbelievable, but today we're uncovering the hidden story behind a 1952 wheat penny with no mint mark, a coin that millions of people have seen, but very few truly understand. Let's go back in time to 1952. America was in a period of post-war growth. Industries were booming, families were expanding, and everyday life was moving fast. Coins were being produced in massive quantities to keep up with the economy. Among them was the Lincoln wheat penny, a design that had already been in circulation for decades, first introduced in 1909. By 1952, it had become so common that most people didn't think twice about it. But hidden within that ordinary label lies something extraordinary. The 1952 wheat penny without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Back then, Philadelphia coins didn't carry a mint mark, which means if your coin shows 1952 with no small letter beneath the date, you're holding one of these original pieces. At first glance, it may not seem special. In fact, millions were made. But here's the truth that most people don't know. Rarity isn't always about how many were produced. It's about how many survived and in what condition. Over time, most 1952 pennies were heavily circulated. They passed through countless hands, got scratched, worn down, and damaged. That means finding one today in pristine, mint-state condition is incredibly difficult. And in the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. Now, imagine this. You find a 1952 wheat penny that looks almost brand new. The details of Abraham Lincoln's face are sharp. The wheat stalks on the back are crisp and fully visible. The coin still has its original shine, known as luster. That coin instantly becomes something special. Depending on its grade, it could be worth anywhere from $50 to several $100s. And in rare cases, especially for top-grade coins graded by professionals, it can reach into the thousands. But that's not all. This coin becomes even more exciting when we talk about errors. Minting errors are like hidden jackpots in the coin world. These are mistakes made during the production process, and collectors absolutely love them. For the 1952 wheat penny, some known errors include double dies, where the lettering or date appears slightly duplicated, and off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned. Imagine spotting a tiny doubling in the word Liberty or in the date 1952. To the untrained eye, it might look like a small imperfection, but to a collector, that could mean serious value, sometimes hundreds or even thousands of dollars more than a normal coin. There are also coins with unusual coloring caused by improper metal mixtures or environmental factors. While some discoloration reduces value, certain rare tones, especially natural red or red-brown finishes, can actually increase a coin's desirability. So how do you know if your 1952 penny is valuable? Start by checking the basics. Look at the date carefully. Make sure it clearly reads 1952. Then check for a mint mark. If there's no D or S, you've got the Philadelphia version. Next, examine the coin under good lighting. Look for sharp details, unusual features, or anything that seems out of the ordinary. You might even want to use a magnifying glass. Many valuable errors are small and easy to miss. That tiny detail could be the difference between a 1-cent coin and a life-changing discovery. And here's something that makes this even more exciting. Coins like these are still out there. They haven't all been found. Every day, people unknowingly spend valuable coins or leave them sitting in jars, drawers, and old collections. The treasure hunt is still alive. Think about your own home. Do you have a jar of old coins? A collection passed down from a relative? A forgotten box in storage? That's where these hidden gems are often discovered. Ordinary places, extraordinary finds. This is what makes coin collecting so addictive. It's not just about money. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the connection to history, and the idea that something so small can hold such big value. The 1952 wheat penny with no mint mark is a perfect example of this hidden potential. It may look like just another coin, but under the right conditions, it can become a collector's dream. So the next time you see a penny, don't ignore it. Don't toss it aside. Take a closer look, because that small piece of copper could be more than just spare change. It could be a story, a mystery, and maybe even your next big discovery. And remember, the world of rare coins is full of surprises. This is just one of many hidden treasures waiting to be found. So stay curious, keep searching, and who knows, your next penny could change everything. What if I told you that a single penny, yes, just one small coin, could quietly be sitting in your home right now, holding a value far greater than you ever imagined? Most people ignore pennies. They leave them in drawers, toss them into jars, or even walk past them on the street. But today, we're uncovering the hidden truth behind a 1956 wheat penny with no mint mark, a coin that might look ordinary, but carries secrets that could completely change the way you see money forever. Let's take a step back to 1956. America was thriving in the post-war era. The economy was growing, new homes were being built, and consumer goods were everywhere. Coins were being minted in massive numbers to keep up with the demand of a booming nation. Among these coins was the Lincoln Wheat Penny, a design that had already been a part of everyday American life for nearly 50 years. By this time, it was so common that people barely paid attention to it anymore. And that's exactly why so many valuable pieces slipped through unnoticed. The 1956 wheat penny without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. At that time, coins from Philadelphia did not carry a mint mark, which means if you look at your penny and see the year 1956 with no small letter beneath it, you might already have one of these coins in your possession. But here's the part that most people don't realize. Not all 1956 pennies are equal. In fact, some are worth far more than their 1 cent face value. Now you might be wondering, how can a coin that was made in the millions be valuable? The answer lies in two key factors: condition and rarity within condition. While it's true that millions of 1956 pennies were produced, the vast majority were heavily circulated. Over decades, they were scratched, worn down, and damaged. Finding one today in truly pristine condition, what collectors call mint state, is incredibly rare. Imagine holding a coin that looks almost untouched by time. The image of Abraham Lincoln is sharp and detailed, every line clearly visible. The wheat stalks on the back are bold and fully defined. The coin still shines with its original reddish luster, almost as if it just left the mint yesterday. That's the kind of coin collectors dream about. And when they find one, they're willing to pay serious money for it. A typical 1956 wheat penny in worn condition might only be worth a few cents. But in uncirculated condition, its value can jump to $20, $50, or even hundreds of dollars depending on its grade. And for the highest quality examples, those graded at the very top levels by professional services, the price can climb into the thousands. Yes, thousands for a single penny. But the story doesn't end there. Because hidden among these coins are rare minting errors that can make them even more valuable. These errors are like tiny accidents that happen during the coin's creation, and collectors absolutely love them. One of the most exciting errors to look for is doubling. This happens when the design is stamped slightly more than once, creating a shadow-like effect on the letters or numbers. Check the word Liberty, the date 1956, or the phrase "In God We Trust." If you notice any unusual doubling, you could be holding something incredibly rare. Another error to watch for is an off-center strike, where the design isn't perfectly aligned on the coin. These coins look unusual and eye-catching, and depending on how dramatic the error is, they could be worth hundreds of dollars or more. There are also coins with unique color variations. Some 1956 pennies have retained their original bright red color, which is highly desirable among collectors. Others may have toned over time into shades of brown or red-brown. While darker coins are usually less valuable, certain natural tones can still attract strong interest. So how do you know if your 1956 wheat penny is worth something special? Start with a careful inspection. Look at the date. Make sure it clearly reads 1956. Check for a mint mark. If there isn't one, you've got the Philadelphia version. Then examine the coin under good lighting. Look for sharp details, unusual features, and signs of high quality. Using a magnifying glass or even your phone zoom can help you spot small details that are easy to miss. And remember, sometimes the smallest difference can mean the biggest value. Here's the exciting part. These coins are still out there. They haven't all been discovered. Every single day, people unknowingly spend valuable coins or leave them sitting in forgotten places. Old jars, piggy banks, family collections. These are the treasure chests where hidden gems are waiting to be found. Think about it. Somewhere right now, someone is holding a coin they believe is worthless, when in reality, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And that someone could be you. This is what makes coin collecting so fascinating. It's not just about money. It's about discovery, history, and the thrill of finding something extraordinary in the most ordinary places. The 1956 wheat penny with no mint mark is a perfect example of this hidden potential. So before you ignore another penny, take a closer look. That small coin could carry a story that goes back decades and a value that might surprise you. Because in the world of rare coins, even the smallest piece of change can become a life-changing treasure. And your next big discovery might already be in your hands. Next up, the most common coins ever made was actually hiding a secret value that most people completely overlook. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a simple penny, and realizing that it might be worth far more than just 1 cent. Today, we're uncovering the surprising truth behind the 1957 wheat penny, a coin that millions of people have handled, but very few truly understand. Let's rewind to 1957. America was booming. The economy was strong. Cars filled the highways. Televisions were becoming household essentials, and everyday transactions required an enormous supply of coins. To meet this demand, the U.S. Mint was producing pennies in massive quantities. One of the busiest facilities was the Denver Mint, which marked its coins with a small D beneath the date. That's where the 1957 wheat penny was born. At first glance, there's nothing special about it. It looks just like any other old penny. Abraham Lincoln on the front, 2 wheat stalks on the back. In fact, over 1 billion of these coins were produced. So naturally, most people assume they're worthless. But here's the truth that collectors know. Even the most common coins can become incredibly valuable under the right conditions. You see, while millions were made, very few survived in perfect condition. Most 1957 pennies were heavily circulated. They were used in daily transactions, dropped, scratched, worn down, and eventually forgotten. Over time, their details faded and their surfaces became dull. That means finding one today in truly uncirculated condition is much harder than you might think. Now, imagine holding a 1957 wheat penny that looks almost brand new. The details of Lincoln's face are sharp and clear. The wheat stalks on the reverse are crisp and fully defined. The coin still has its original bright red color, glowing as if it just came out of the mint. This is what collectors call a red penny, and it's one of the most desirable types. In average condition, a 1957 penny might only be worth a few cents. But in uncirculated condition, its value can rise to $10, $20, or even $100 depending on its quality. And for the highest grade examples, those that are nearly flawless, the price can climb into the thousands. Yes, thousands of dollars for a coin that most people wouldn't even pick up off the ground. But here's where things get even more exciting. Hidden among these coins are rare minting errors that could dramatically increase their value. These errors are like hidden jackpots, tiny mistakes made during production that turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. One of the most famous and valuable errors associated with the 1957 wheat penny is the RPM, or repunched mint mark. This happens when the D mint mark was stamped more than once in slightly different positions, creating a doubled or shadowed effect. To the naked eye, it might look like a small blur, but to a collector, it's a sign of rarity, and it can be worth hundreds of dollars or more. Another incredible variation to look for is the double die error. This occurs when the coin's design is stamped twice, slightly offset, causing visible doubling in the letters or numbers. Check the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1957. If you notice any unusual doubling, you might be holding a very valuable coin. There are also off-center strikes, where the design is not perfectly aligned, and coins with unique toning or color variations. Some of these features might look like flaws to the average person, but in the world of coin collecting, they can mean serious value. So how do you know if your 1957 D-Wheat penny is worth something special? Start by checking the basics. Look at the date. Make sure it clearly reads 1957. Then check for the D mint mark just below the date. After that, examine the coin carefully under good lighting. Look for sharp details, unusual features, and signs of high quality. Using a magnifying glass or your phone zoom can help you spot small details that are easy to miss. Pay close attention to the mint mark and the lettering. Sometimes, the smallest difference can mean the biggest reward. And here's the most exciting part. These coins are still out there. They haven't all been discovered. Every day, people unknowingly spend valuable coins or leave them sitting in jars, drawers, and old collections. The treasure hunt is still alive, and anyone can be part of it. Think about your own home. Do you have a jar of old coins? A collection passed down from a family member? A forgotten box tucked away somewhere? That's where these hidden treasures are often found. This is what makes coin collecting so powerful. It turns ordinary moments into exciting discoveries. It connects you to history, and it gives you the chance to find something truly valuable in the most unexpected places. The 1957 D-Wheat penny may look like just another coin, but under the right conditions, it can become something extraordinary. It's a reminder that value isn't always obvious, and that sometimes the smallest can hold the biggest surprises. So the next time you see a penny, don't ignore it. Take a closer look, because that tiny piece of copper might be more than just spare change. It could be your next big discovery. And remember, there are countless rare coins still waiting to be found. This is just one of them. So keep searching, stay curious, and who knows, the next coin you find might change everything.